and welcome to another Rosie the Realtor show. Today we have a very special guest speaker that I'm very, very excited to have because this is, well, you're gonna see this industry is very much scrutinized. And so to know that we have someone locally that we can trust and lean on is so exciting. So hi Taz.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Excited to be on your show.
Thank you. Thank you. And we're, like I said, we're super excited to have you on here today. So Taz, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm actually from Ecuador. Came to the United States when I was like 2 years old, lived in Boston for a while, most of my life here in California, avid surfer, I'm in the water all the time, love to surf, that kind of stuff, staying in shape, going to the gym, those kind of things.
Yeah.
I've been married for 28 years,
Wow.
yeah,
That's
been married
awesome.
a long time, my better half, as they say, and, have a couple of daughters, one is, my youngest is 19. She plays soccer for Long Beach. She got a scholarship to play there, which is awesome. And then my oldest is 26 and she's a nurse. She's in a nursing program. She's a lifeguard. You name it, she's a overachiever, I call her, so, yeah, I mean, it's a good life. I'm blessed, very blessed, a lot of great people around me.
Very good. And you picked a beautiful place to live. So, hey, that helps, right?
Right.
Very cool. So Taz, you are oh, I just lost my train of thought. Interesting industry because, for being fully honest, every time I hear of someone in your industry, it's normally not the best story. And I know you're going to share some of those with us today. But so to hear realtors raving about you and having you join us at our meetings and just being over the top pleased with what your company has to offer makes it extra exciting having you on my show. So why don't you tell me a little bit about what you do?
Wow. Well, feel free to cut me off wherever, because I can go on. The industry is definitely never boring. They are, unfortunately, all it takes is one bad move, from some other company to give a black eye to the whole industry, and so what I try to do is share a lot of information that is out there. Even though we may have all this information, Google this and Google that, a lot of folks don't have the time to go through all of these, and what can I do and not do. So, when they reach out to me, even just, for a quick conversation, I can at least share with them all the information that's out there and what to be careful about. The number one thing that I try to remind everybody is there's no such thing as a deposit. What they're purchasing is service. So services need to be rendered for there to be a deposit, for there to be a payment. Somebody can sign a contract, be ready to go, and then let's just say contingencies are not lifted or something happens and they have to cancel their move. They don't have to worry about giving back a deposit. They don't have to worry about being charged for anything. No services rendered, no payment. So even though they may have signed the contract, still no services have been rendered. So it's a safety, versus other moving companies that unfortunately immediately they're 2 minutes into the phone call and they're asking for a deposit, half up front. All those are big red flags. With our company, fortunately, I mean, we from beginning to end, we stay with you. So if somebody is moving locally, it's great, because I can explain how that works. If they're moving out of state, I can explain how that works. An intrastate means any move that's over 100 miles, like here to San Diego or something like that. Like I said, local moves, interstate moves, intrastate, international moves. I have folks right now that are going to Czechoslovakia. We've got folks from all over the place. Yeah,
that's a big move.
It's a big move. Yeah, and how does that work? What are the steps? So I can walk them through that as well too. The other, part of our what it is that we do is packing. So we offer a full packing service, partial packing service, or no packing. It just all depends to each household. Sometimes folks want to, they'll pack the pots and the pans and the clothes and the shoes, can't hurt those kind of things, but they may want us to do the dishes, the china, the TVs, the lamps, Lamps especially are one of those things that we, like I say, take for granted because you put them on the nightstand, it's there, and then later on you forgot, oh yeah, that's got to go in a box too.
Yeah.
And there's certain items that don't need to be packed. So it's ways of explaining what you need to do and what you don't need to do. What's our job? Personally, whether it's a local move or a interstate move, we disassemble the beds on this side and reassemble the beds once we go to deliver. All the furniture is wrapped, whether it's patio furniture or indoor furniture, it still needs to be taken care of. When you put it on the truck, things tend to rub, so we want it to be the pads, even garden tools, we'll wrap some pads around the garden tools, and, folks are kind of, well, why are you protecting the shovel? Well, it's that we're protecting the shovel.
Not the shovel, but what it could damage.
Exactly. It could poke a box, and so we're kind of thinking, beyond just the, what most people think, when it comes to packing. We also do a declutter. This month, for me at least, it's been the hoarder month. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of folks that, they just pile up stuff, and before they go to send,
I don't know anybody like that,
right? So
I might argue that one, but
well, before somebody goes to list their home, they want to clean the place up. Yes. So we do what's called a declutter. We can come out, we can pick the items up, put it in storage, so that way, the house shows really nice, yes. And they get more bang for their buck type of thing. You can really appreciate the house. And so once the house sells and it's ready to be moved, we bring what was in storage back out to the house and move them to wherever their new destination is going to be. So we have those, the storage, option as well too. Sometimes folks are selling their homes and they don't have another home to go to just yet, whether it's locally or out of state. So we can hold all their items. Our storage facility is not, and I'm not trying to beat anybody else's storage facility up, but it is very high security. We do a lot of military work. So, going through all those things with the military, trying to get on the base, so there's a lot of background checks and those kind of things that we do, so that way we can do work with them, so a large percentage of our business is with the military.
Very cool. And I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things that I do as a listing agent is I do go into the homes ahead of time. And normally I give them a little homework and I say, okay, this is how we're going to stage it, right? And I'm always trying to save my clients money, and then obviously ultimately try to get them the most money once the home sells. And part of that includes me, whether they're a month or months out, is, okay, these are the things I'm going to pack. We're going to call it a head start on packing, get all this packed. And so knowing that there's a facility where it can temporarily hold stuff, or if they do have to be, moved out before their new home is ready, or whatever the case, there's so many pieces to buying and selling a house that it's nice that they could contact one company, come declutter, come pack later, whatever the need is, and you guys can customize that.
Correct.
And now tell me, because I thought this was cool, tell me the Girl Scout story.
So yeah, we're very fortunate to work with the Girl Scouts, and we have pallets, when that season is in, we have pallets in our warehouse of just, Girl Scout cookies, and it's nice because our facility stays nice and cool, so, during that season, I always tell, like right now, if chocolate doesn't melt in the warehouse, nothing else is going to melt in the warehouse. So folks don't have to worry about if they have a piano or a guitar or, these sensitive items, antiques, there's different levels. Sometimes people have, some iron, solid wood type of furniture, and then sometimes they have a lot of antiques, so regardless, everything is well taken care of. It's in a cool, setting. Everything is indoors. There's some companies that do containers. Mm-hmm. Pros and cons to containers. Really, these containers are sitting outside, and when we do go through these hot summers, all your stuff is kind of baking. You know how that feels when you're, opening up your car, after it's sitting outside in the sun all day. Just imagine that's all your furniture. When,
right.
We also have, different insurances, if you will. It's basically called full value coverage in case, if somebody wants to take out additional coverage for their items, whether they're moving locally or interstate, that's available as well too.
Oh,
Certificates of insurance is very important as well too. Like sometimes, we're working some of these high rise down in LA. And so we have certificates of insurance for the buildings, for the folks as well too. They want to be named on there. So let's just say, if we came into a home and we scratch a floor, we scratch a wall, we mess up a door, somebody gets hurt on the job, we have, we're fully insured where we would take care of those items. It wouldn't be any cost to the folks that are living there, whether it's this house or the other house. If somebody got hurt on the job, they don't have to worry about somebody being sued, or anything like that, because we have workman's comp, versus using, as I say, Joe the mover, and a couple guys from in front of Home Depot. If somebody,
yeah.
yes, you can save some money that way, but if there's damages, where's the savings?
Right. Absolutely. And that's something you got to consider, because moving, everybody's always trying to sell you insurance, but moving is definitely one of those areas that you don't realize, especially when you've been in a house for however long, many years, and you're moving a washer, a dryer, a bed, disassembling it. You don't know how that furniture or appliances are going to react, or how heavy they are. We forget it.
Correct.
Moving is not fun. So Taz, it sounds like, okay, so you do packing. So
Yes.
You'll come to the house, you'll pack. Obviously, you do estimates. You then pack the truck. You guys offer moving, temporary storage. So if they need to temporary store it, and then obviously you move the items to locally, even internationally, I'm learning today, and all over the state, which there seems to be a very lots of that going on these days,
Yes,
right? Everybody,
exactly.
I think this year alone, I've sent 4 or 5 families to Tennessee alone. Washington, Nevada, a few out of the country. I mean, definitely a lot of people have been leaving, but then we also have a lot of local business too. So it's good to know that you could be that one-stop shop. And before I let you go, tell us a horror story, because there's a lot of them.
Yes, there's a lot of them, but as just to kind of mention a little something like what you were just talking about, a lot of people going out of state, people are very curious, well, what's it going to cost? And let's do a comparison. Okay. And like you're saying, Tennessee. So, just to kind of give folks a little info, and I love the business, it's very interesting. There's a lot going on. And so like when people are thinking, well, what if I do this myself versus moving, with a professional? Okay. I was just doing one just recently. The difference in cost, like let's say going here to Texas, okay, which is almost like Tennessee, okay, that same idea.
A lot of people going there too.
There is, but when I was looking at, what a U-Haul truck, let's just say, okay, everybody's familiar with U-Haul.
Yes.
So renting a U-Haul truck, by the time you're done renting the truck, the fuel, the pads to protect the furniture, and so on, and you're doing all the work. You're loading it, you're unloading it. By the time you compare it to our company, the difference, I was surprised myself how small of a difference it was. It was about $75.
Wow.
So really for $75, for that small of an amount, you might as well have a professional like us do the move, and spend 75 more bucks, spend a very little bit more, or do everything yourself.
Right.
Horror stories. Lots of folks calling saying, unfortunately, I had a reservation with a not just U-Haul, but a moving company, and they must have got a better job because they left me standing there.
Yeah.
So now they have to hand over keys that afternoon, but their mover never showed up. That happens. You have, sometimes some movers will show up and they'll put all the good stuff in one truck and all the so-so stuff on another truck, and only one truck makes it to destination. There's, those kind of things that happen. There is, the ones that you hear all the time where folks will say, well, they gave me a price, and then when they go to deliver, now they're asking me for X amount more before they deliver, or X amount more to bring it into the house. that's already part of your move. Those kind of things happen, unfortunately.
All the time.
Yes.
I hear that a lot. Or, they arrive late, or they're supposed to be here on a certain day and it's weeks, or if it even makes it. And that's
exactly it. If it even makes it, there's so many things that can happen, when there's different ways to do an estimate. We can do it by video, or we can do it in-home.
Okay.
When it's just, people just throwing numbers, that's all they're doing is throwing numbers. And unfortunately, it's the client that gets the hit, not the mover, So I'm very blessed to be in some network groups where just, a lot of great agents, a lot of great information that's out there, and like I said, I enjoy what I do. I'm always answering my phone, it's just, I like to talk. So, and there's so many stories, like I said, it could be a hoarder, it can be, so many different scenarios. To me, I love the challenge, they're little moves, big moves, you name it.
Very cool. So Taz, if somebody wanted to contact you, direct, obviously, to, use your services, how would they do that? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
The best way to get a hold of me is just my phone number, right there on the card. My cell phone number is the best. You can call the office and just ask for me. I'm normally not in the office because I'm out in the field most of the time, but my cell phone number is always the best number to reach me, even if it's after hours. We all work, and sometimes, some jobs are very demanding where they don't give you a minute, to breathe, so if you have to call me after 5, call me after 5. If it's a weekend call me over the weekend. I always ask people to leave me a message just in case if I'm already on the phone or doing an estimate or out on a job, I can definitely get back to them. Yeah.
Very cool.
Directly. If you like to text me. I'm good too.
That's always so easy, right? Call me when you have a minute. And I see you have a 661 area code in Los Angeles, but I just want to point out you're actually locally here in Ventura County.
Well, I'm actually in Valencia.
Really?
We're in Valencia. I'm in Ventura at least 4 days a week,
Okay. I figured you lived around here because you're always around here.
Right, exactly. Well, I'm kind of the beach guy, I work from Santa Barbara all the way down to Long Beach, but because I live in Valencia, I work towards Valencia as well too, Thousand Oaks, Camarillo, Marina del Rey, you name it, I'm all over the place. Montecito, so there's almost nowhere we're going to go or not go, I should say, so yeah, it's very interesting. It's, again, never boring.
Very good. I didn't imagine you from a hot city when you're always talking beach, but well, awesome. Well, Taz, it has been so wonderful having you on here today. I really appreciate your insights and also giving, clients this extra resource for whatever services they might need, right? Temporary storage, packing, moving, whatever it is, you guys could customize it to the client and help. If, one of the hardest things that humans go through is moving. I don't know if you knew that one of the top 5 hardest things next to death, job loss, divorce is moving. So thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate everything you've shared, and I look forward to working together.
Definitely. Anytime, at your services.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Let me, there is